Welcome to Epic Geek Out, the only show on the internet where the Wizard of Oz and Zordon are one and the same. I'm your host, Rob.
And I'm your host, Chad, and today we're talking about the highly anticipated prequel to the Wizard of Oz, Oz the Great and Powerful.
And on Thursday, we're going to be giving a video game review of the new Tomb Raider game.
Yep, just called Tomb Raider, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, as always, you can check us out over at Twitter, at Epic Geek Out. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Epic Geek Out. Also, check out the website, www.epicgeekout.com. But let's get into our review of Oz. So Oz the Great and Powerful is directed by Sam Raimi of Spider-Man fame and Evil Dead. Also, it stars James Franco, Mila Kunis, Michelle Williams, Rachel Weisz, voiced by Zach Braff.
Yep.
And it is the prequel to The Wizard of Oz. And it is really told through the perspective of James Franco's character, Oz, and how he gets there and kind of how he supplants himself in the role that we know him as. Retelling of the story. Chad, what did you think of the movie?
Yeah, I had some trepidations going into this. I was like love-hate with it because love James Franco, love Sam Raimi, but at the same time, kind of trying to take on The Wizard of Oz is a huge undertaking. Also, Alice in Wonderland's from the same producers as that, which I wasn't a huge fan of that.
Oh yeah, I mean, Greg also had some cool other people working on it. Music by Danny Elfman, makeup by Greg Nicotero from Walking Dead. So had a really good rounded out cast. So
yeah, but the producers of Alice in Wonderland, the Johnny Depp version, I did not like really one bit. So, and this had the same feel to it from the trailers. So I was intrigued, but also kind of torn. But I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, I think it kind of hit every level of a good movie for me. I was entertained throughout. The story was very good, like a lot better than I was anticipating. It actually had meaning to it, strong characters, good writing, all that stuff that makes a great film. I was pretty blown away by the effects as well, which is surprising because a lot of stuff we saw in the trailer, but going into it, I think there was a lot of stuff that looked so real to me. And I was, coming off of Jack the Giant Slayer, which looked at points really, really fake. This looked, for the fantastical elements that are obviously fake, they made them look really convincing. And we did see it in 3D, and I would honestly recommend seeing this in 3D because I think it's the best 3D I've seen.
I agree with that.
The Avengers we saw in 3D, but did it benefit from it? I think this benefited from it because a lot of the fantastical elements stuck out more in 3D, especially at the end when you had the face of Oz in the smoke. I think that, I don't know that would be as effective in 2D, to be honest with you. A lot of really cool callbacks to the original movie, and it really did earn the prequelness of it, which is one thing that I was highly worried about because do you need a prequel to The Wizard of Oz? Well, this movie proves that it is an interesting story to tell. So that's something that prequels often fail at because, like Star Wars, we found that this is a really interesting story because we know where it's going. This, you do know where it's going, but the ride to get there is really cool and interesting, and just really cool characters along the way. So, yeah, I think that this is a really great movie, and I really would have a hard time finding someone who didn't like it, to be honest with you. I mean, we'll see, but
I really enjoyed this movie as well. To add to some of the points that you made, the humor, there were some really laugh out loud moments.
I was in tears at one point.
Yeah,
it was that funny.
Really good laughing moments, and I hate to compare this to Jack and the Giant Slayer, but just having seen these movies less than a week between, it really shows what that movie did wrong and what they did better. The characters in this movie, let's talk about the acting first. Some of the acting seems trite, it kind of seems forced and a little goofy, but it somehow just fits perfectly in this world that they've designed. That lends itself to having a compassion for these characters. James Franco at times in this movie, I didn't like the choices he made, though overall, fine. I really enjoyed the side characters, and though some of them were straight up CGI, the little China girl and the flying monkey assistant companion, they were great. They were able to show emotion through CGI, and you were able to care for these characters which is great. And I think
that's how you do CGI. Like that. Should be how you do it,
that's a real accomplishment for
Yeah.
CGI as well. The fact that you can then care for these characters. There was enough new and different things in this world that you were able to, just like you saw a sign that says Chinatown, and then what that led to was
it's cool.
funny, and it was creative, and it was new. The writing I just think was spot on. You felt for the characters, and again, to reiterate, I loved the CGI in this, and I definitely would recommend seeing it in 3D, which is something I feel I rarely say. So overall I really enjoyed this movie, and I definitely say check it out. So.
Yeah, I think just because we are kind of over the moon about it, but I think some of the problems that I had personally, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, but for me, it stuck out. James Franco, his acting style was all over this movie. Sam Raimi was all over this movie. And while I like both of those people and both of what they bring to movies, I think I could have done with a little less of their stamp in this movie.
Yeah, there's a very Army of Darkness kind of just quick shot at the end. I'm like, oh, Sam Raimi is directing this. Also, Bruce Campbell is in it, so for any Sam Raimi friends, or fans, don't worry, he is in this movie, which is great.
Yeah, James Franco I think maybe it was just the choices he made, but there's some expressions and ways he played his character that were strange and odd to me. Which stuck out, but overall, I was fine with it in the context of the movie. But
and also, you did mention this to me. He did kind of just accept that he was in this world. Oh, am I dead? No. Okay, let's accept the flying baboons that are trying to kill me, and the fairies that bit my, like the sea fairies or whatever, stuff like that. But again, this was sort of a longer movie that they couldn't have had him going through oh, where am I for
especially
because
he's a master of illusion, so you feel like he would not believe magic as much as someone who
because he kind of would disprove it.
Yeah.
Sure, I could see that, but generally I didn't have any really preconceived notions going into this. I didn't know what to expect. With again seeing Jack the Giant Slayer last week, I kind of I don't know. I had a bad taste in my mouth for kind of a reimagining of a kid's story. So pleasantly surprised.
Also,
though,
one thing I wanted to mention too, the opening scene, which you kind of see in the trailer, that takes place in Kansas. I did feel like that was a little bit it felt like they were in costumes and it wasn't real. Whereas, the cool thing about the original Wizard of Oz was you felt like real Kansas, and when they went to the colored world, it was such a big change. Whereas I feel like the effect wasn't as...
Well, we also have color and CGI, and we're living in a different time.
But just it felt like, oh, he's in costume the whole time, and now he's kind of in the world.
And I agree with that, though. But for an intro, I think that it earned it, and it did set up the characters well, and it did kind of, have a juxtaposition to the first movie and in the changes, and this went to the 4:3 ratio to the widescreen to stuff like that. So I really appreciated the choices that were made in that.
And I think overall, the biggest thing that I could say about it is, and the biggest accomplishment that it had, is I was thinking at the end of the movie that, and we're kind of the perfect age to kind of speak to this, but I was like, kids now will love this movie. My parents will love this movie. Because there's so many,
it has wide appeal.
It has reverence for the original, but then there's new stuff, new fun characters that will appeal to kids nowadays.
I agree.
But also reverence to the original. So I think mad props to Sam Raimi for pulling it off, because it's definitely, it wasn't an easy task, and I think going into it, I definitely was overly critical, and I came out of it loving it. So.
And I just saw an article in Slash Film that they're working on the second now, so we can expect another one.
They just ruined it for me. But that's Oz the Great and Powerful. Check it out and go see it in 3D because it's definitely worth it.
Definitely. It's that time of the episode where we like to give our thanks. Chad, what are you thankful for today?
There's a service from Amazon, which I'm a huge fan of, called Amazon Prime, and it is a membership for them, but I think it's $79 a year. But if you're a student, you get a student rate for it. But it's a pretty cool service because it gives you free shipping, free 2-day shipping on anything, and 1-day shipping for $3.99. I buy a ton of stuff on Amazon, and for me, it's just worth it to know that if I need something, I can get it in 2 days. Also now, as part of Prime, they have a streaming service online that you can get access to for free,
like Netflix Instant.
Instant, with different titles, but similar type of thing. And also, I believe free rentals for Kindle books.
Yeah, I think
on
one a month.
Certain titles.
Certain titles, one a month.
So it's a really cool service. It seems a little pricey, but if you buy a ton of stuff off Amazon, like me, it's worth it. And one thing that I don't do on Amazon, but you can do, which a lot of people do, is you can actually set up recurring things. So a lot of people suggest getting things that you would get every month recurring to your house. So I can't think of a good example right now. Toilet paper would be a good one, I guess.
Paper towels.
Stuff like that. So that's cool to kind of just alleviate that pressure of knowing that you have to do it. And if you have Amazon Prime, it's free shipping. So
that is good. So sticking with the fact that we reviewed one of Sam Raimi's movies today, I would like to thank one of Sam Raimi's original movies. It put him on the map. Bruce Campbell as well. Evil Dead. Evil Dead, if you have not seen it and you are at all a fan of horror movies, definitely check it out. It's definitely low budget, but still it packs the thrills in and is a scary movie.
I'm still scared of trees.
Also, yeah, that's a part of the movie you should see. Also, the sequel, or not the sequel, but the remake is coming out soon, which we are pumped to see, and has the full support of Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, so it's nice that they're on board for that. So definitely check out Evil Dead. It's a great movie for around Halloween time, or really whenever, as long as you're ready to get scared.
Awesome. So we're going to be back on Thursday. We're going to be talking about Tomb Raider, the brand new Tomb Raider game for the Tomb Raider franchise.
The Tomb Raider game
yes.
is the new Tomb Raider game? Okay.
So make sure you check back for that. Thanks for watching this episode, and we'll see you next time.